With Himeko Nova only a few weeks away, it's the perfect time to go over everything you need to know before deciding whether to pull for her. In this guide, we will break down what makes Himeko Nova such a powerful DPS, what she brings to the table, and whether or not she will be a great unit and worth your jades. So before moving on, please hit the like and subscribe button. Now if you have done that, let's get this video started. Himeko Nova is shaping up to be the next major headline character. These are the units that receive the biggest marketing campaigns, usually get post-release support through future characters, and are designed to be incredibly powerful. Himeko Nova definitely fits into that category, and she brings a lot to the table. As a DPS, her damage multipliers are extremely high, but she also offers some supportive utility. Her intended playstyle revolves around teaming up with Astral Express characters because she has two unique modes, called Verdict and Decimation, and which one she enters depends on which Astral Express teammate use her assist skill. If the assist skill is used by someone who is not part of Astral Express, then those modes won't activate. The assist skill itself is also entirely new mechanic that's unique to Himeko Nova. It can be used during either her own turn or an ally's turn. If an Astral Express character uses it, their current action is consumed, but they are immediately given another turn afterward. That extra turn can only happen once though, so you can keep chaining it repeatedly. Non-Astral Express characters don't receive that extra turn unless you have invested further into Himeko through her Eidolons. So her gameplay mostly revolves around managing those assist skills, building toward her ultimate, and then unleashing that ultimate for some incredibly high burst damage. Her ultimate attacks 6 times, dealing up to 762 of Himeko's attack to the primary target and 252 to surrounding enemies. Those are already massive multipliers on their own. Once all 6 attacks are finished, she follows up with the final attack consisting of 3 separate hits, each dealing fire damage equal to 80% of her attack to random enemies. Another huge part of her kit is the interaction between Verdict and Decimation. Verdict boosts Himeko's damage by 100% while also increasing her ultimate damage by another 100%. After Himeko's teammates actively use 2 ultimates, she immediately launches a free assist skill against an enemy without consuming any assist skill charge. Decimation works differently. Instead of directly buffing Himeko, it increases the entire team's crit damage by 100%, while also their skill crit damage. Every time an ally hits an enemy, Decimation gains 1 charge. Once you have accumulated 9 charge, they are all consumed automatically and Himeko immediately performs a free assist skill. As you can tell, both modes serve very different purposes. Decimation leans much more towards supporting the team and build its charge in a completely different way, while Verdict focuses more on maximizing Himeko's own damage output and personal buffs. Right now, there are multiple ways to play her, and some situations even require swapping between those two modes. Because of that, Himeko is not the kind of character you can just throw onto any team without thinking. It's not simply a matter of having one mode activate because you are not using Astral Express teammates or always staying in one mode because it looks stronger. While Verdict generally appears to be the stronger option, especially with higher investment, there are still situations where Decimation is the better choice. Learning when to use each mode and understanding how to activate them consistently is going to be a huge part of mastering Himeko Nova. Managing her energy, making proper use of the assist skill mechanic, and building teams around Astral Express characters are all going to play an important role in getting the most out of her. Now let's talk about Himeko Nova's vertical investment because it's honestly incredible. Her E1 is an outstanding upgrade. It increases the number of extra assist skill activations triggered by her talent, reduces the Verdict requirement from 2 ally ultimates down to just 1, lowers Decimation charge requirement by 3, and also increases the extra damage dealt whenever Himeko launch assist skill. The quality of life improvement alone is massive. Under Verdict, you no longer need 2 ally ultimates before getting free assist skill, you only need 1. That means every time an ally uses their ultimate, Himeko immediately gets another free activation. For Decimation, the requirement drops from 9 enemy hits down to just 6, allowing the free assist skill to trigger much more frequently. Overall, E1 looks like roughly a 20 to 30% increase, while making both of her modes feel significantly smoother to play. Then there's E2, which is honestly on another level. Instead of increasing her maximum assist skill used by 2, it actually raised the cap to 2, meaning you now have 2 charge instead of 1. On top of that, both her ultimate and assist skill deal 124% of their original damage, which is an enormous damage increase. Whenever Himeko enters her Navigator Semaphore state after using her skill, she also automatically recovers additional assist skill charge. Earlier I mentioned that only Astral Express teammates receive extra turn after using assist skill. Non-Astral Express characters normally don't get that benefit, but E2 completely removes that restriction. Once you unlock it, even characters outside the Astral Express gain the extra turn after using Himeko's assist skill, dramatically expanding her team building options. So while non-Astral Express characters still won't be able to change Himeko's mood, E2 does let them benefit from the extra turn after using assist skill. That's a huge upgrade. Based on the current testing, E1 looks to be around 30 to 40% damage increase, while E2 is even bigger jump at roughly 40 to 50%, making her vertical investment incredibly rewarding. Her signature light cone is also excellent. Even though its relative value has dropped slightly compared to earlier versions, it's still a very powerful option. It grants a 32% defense ignore, restores 6 energy whenever assist skill is used, and applies a sail buff for 2 turns. Sail can stack up to 3 times, with each stack increasing assist skill damage by 20%. Once you reach 3 stacks, each one also boosts ultimate damage by another 20%, giving a massive increase to both parts of her kit. Combined with the defense ignore, it's still outstanding light cone. That said, its priority has shifted a bit because of how absurdly strong E1 and E2 are. If you don't own the alternative light cone that's currently considered her closest competitor, then her signature remains a fantastic pickup. But if you already have that alternative, you are generally better off investing in E1 or even pushing to E2 before considering S1. No matter which route you take, Himeko's investment options are excellent across the board. One thing I do want to point out though is a small disclaimer regarding her vertical investment. Based on the current showcase footage, Himeko seems noticeably rougher to play without at least E1. That becomes even more apparent if you also lack some of her preferred teammates. Of course, this could change before release, but I can definitely see it remaining true because E1 adds so much quality of life to her rotations. There's a real possibility that her performance won't age particularly well without E1, or maybe even E2, simply because of everything those eidolons provide. At launch, E0S1 will almost certainly be strong enough to clear content, just like every other flagship DPS. But over time, you will probably want either stronger teammates or more vertical investment to keep her performing at her peak. We have seen something similar before with Finan. When he first released, people praised how flexible he was because he could work with so many different supports. While that was true, players without E2 already noticed some awkwardness in his gameplay. Himeko could potentially follow a similar path. Now, the biggest question, is Himeko Nova actually worth pulling? The first thing you should ask yourself is whether your account actually needs another DPS. That's always the biggest deciding factor with characters like her. If you already have 2 or 3 fully built, top tier damage dealers covering your needs, then there's really no pressure to spend your Stellar Jets on another one. The next thing to consider is her teammates. Right now, Wealth looks like almost irreplaceable for her best teams. She can also work alongside characters like Sunday or even Motionex Blade, and with higher investment, Sparkle becomes another strong option. However, at lower investment levels, Astral Express companions are especially valuable because before E2, they are the only ones that can consistently take advantage of her extra turn mechanic. Without that, her rotations become noticeably clunkier. Once you reach E2 though, team building opens up dramatically, since non-Astral Express characters can finally receive the extra turn as well. And then there's E4 Wealth. You have probably already seen the showcases. It's an enormous damage increase, and looks like it's going to be stable in almost every one of Himeko's strongest team compositions. Even E2 Wealth already looks like a perfectly solid partner since he gives Himeko access to Decimation. Whenever you need to swap out of Verdict, he's currently the most reliable way to do it. At the moment, there really is not another character that can consistently activate Decimation the way Wealth can, so having him available gives you a valuable flexibility. Of course, things can still change before release. Decimation could end up becoming the preferred mode, or Verdict might remain the stronger option. Right now, Verdict generally seems to have the edge, but Decimation is still a legitimate choice in the right situations. If you can afford it, I would strongly consider picking up E2. Even after all the adjustments she's gone through, Himeko Nova still looks like one of the strongest DPS characters in the game on paper. Her damage output is simply absurd. That said, I think Himeko Nova is the kind of character that only has small room for growth in the future, since her team at E0 will always rely on Astral Express members. That's another reason why I think E2 is such a valuable investment. It smooths out her gameplay significantly, especially if you are running a traditional sustain instead of hyper carry aggressive setup. As long as you have the right teammates, whether that's Wealth, Sunday, Permanent Sorcerer, or the other compatible Astral Express units, Himeko should perform exceptionally well. I also recommend saving a portion of your Stellar Jades for whatever post-release support eventually arrives. Nobody knows exactly who that character will be yet, so you'll have to wait and see. but we have learned over the years that dedicated follow-up supports can dramatically increase a DPS character's longevity. Personally, I think Himeko's own vertical investment, especially E1 and E2, will keep her relevant for a long time, similar to what happened with Finan. Still, having her eventual best teammate will likely be just important. So if possible, try not to spend every last jade on her banner. Keeping a reserve for that future support could end up paying off. If you can meet those conditions, Himeko Nova looks like outstanding addition to almost any account. On the other hand, if she is not worth pulling for you, it's probably for the opposite reasons. If you don't own many Astral Express characters, or the ones you do own are already locked into other teams, building around her becomes much more difficult. For example, if your Sunday is permanently tied to another composition, or your well is already indispensable elsewhere, fitting Himeko into your roster won't be nearly as smooth. The same applies if you are only planning to stay at E0 and don't have the resources for additional investment. Combine that with missing her preferred teammates, and she will naturally lose a fair bit of her potential. And of course, if your account already has enough top tier DPS characters, then there simply is not much pressure to pull another one. And that's everything you need to know about Himeko Nova. We covered what Himeko Nova does, why she's shaping up to be such a powerful DPS, her incredible vertical investment, whether she's worth pulling, and even her future potential through the new trail-based companions. So are you going to pull Himeko after watching this? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button, turn on notification as well so you won't be missing out on any of my style content. I will see you guys on my next one. Bye bye!